Welcome back. I'm Kevin Rutherford. We're going to get right back to your phone calls. We are off to Nebraska. Rory, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Good. What's on your mind today?
I had a question, or maybe to see what you thought, your opinion on this. I hear a lot of people talking about the 14-hour rule and a lot of issues with detention, but they're just losing too much time. They can't gain any forward momentum during their day. So what I was thinking was, if the shippers, if the drivers have to have an ELD type of system, if the shipping companies can be more regulated to have some type of an, I don't know if you would call it ELD, but electronic to integrate with the driver's ELD, that when a driver pulls into their property or whatever, we can type into our system, our load number, whatever. It goes into a system in their building, and they're held to a standard of they've got to have that driver loaded within a certain amount of time. Rather than right now, they don't care, a lot of times they'll lollygag and, however long, maybe, we'll skip this guy over you because we like him better or whatever it might be.
Okay, so let me jump in and give you my opinion and address it. First off, who's going to enforce these laws?
Well, it could be something that's integrated with the FMCA where the shipper...
Well, hold up. Let me stop you there. The FMCSA right now is really only responsible for regulating motor carriers. There's a couple 100,000 of those. They are so understaffed and so underfunded that they can't possibly address the laws they're supposed to address right now. Not even close. How do we then make that organization so big that they could regulate every possible businesses that ships or receives? We're talking about millions of businesses that we would have to create this huge governmental body and set of rules to oversee this.
Well, if we did that, and the shippers, here's another way for the government to make a couple of dollars to offset maybe the transportation costs or infrastructure, but a bona fide shipper needs to pony up to get into the system to do things the right way, because the
so now
is constantly going to be chasing their tail to try to make switches around to fight the shipping company problems. If the shipping companies were held to a certain responsibility, the FMCSA would not constantly having to be making changes every 6 months to fight their battles.
Well, they don't have to do that. See, I'm a big believer in simple. And it sounds wonderful to say we're going to force every shipper to get us in and out on time, or they'll be fined the way we are. Well, we have those regulations for safety. Whether you agree with them or not, whether they make things safe or not, we have them because we're out on the road. We have a big public responsibility. I am 100% against creating more government, bigger regulations, and then you said, well, let the shippers pay for it. Well, shippers aren't going to pay for it. We are. Every business has to generate profit. If you increase their cost, they have to increase their price. That means we all pay for it as consumers. So as consumers, we're going to pay for this huge, complicated governmental agency to try to oversee millions of shipments every single day to solve a problem for a couple people. I mean, honestly, we've been dealing with hours of service since 1938, and it's not that big of a deal. Now, let me give you what I think is a better solution. Let the free market solve the problem. They already are, and they're doing it much more efficiently than what you just described. Forget all kinds of equipment and systems in the shipper's building that, our system has to talk to when we pull in. Convoy's already solved this problem. Book a load with Convoy, open up the app. When you pull into the property, you don't do anything. Convoy system knows that you pulled in. They use geofencing technology, which is on everybody's phone already, and the clock starts ticking. And when you go over 2 hours at that dock, you automatically get paid detention time, whether the shipper pays it or not. Convoy guarantees the payment. They'll go after the shippers, and they'll start to police the shippers and saying, look, this is going to cost you more if you keep holding up trucks. The technology's already there. We don't need a big government agency. We don't need new technology. We don't need new systems and regulations, and that's a mess. Let the free market fix it.
So you just taught me something here, that there is something already in place.
Absolutely.
To assist.
Right now, today. If you got the Convoy app today and booked a load on it, that's how their system works. They track your time at the dock and they pay automatic detention time.
That sounds great. I mean, luckily I don't run into that situation with the loads that I do. But listening to like KC show last night when they were talking about
well, let me address that too. Let me address that, because I agree with you. You listen to the other shows, you listen at the truck stop, you listen at the Liars Counter. Everybody bitches about this issue, right? Probably the most complained about issue in my 3 decades in trucking is the ELDs forcing, real hours of service. That's why this came to a head. We used to just cheat. We still complained about it some, but we cheated and just moved on with our day. Now you can't cheat anymore, so it's become a huge issue. But I will tell you, it's not that important to people. And I have proof. It is absolutely, this is not an important issue to the trucking industry at all. Even though people complain about it, you know how I know? I have absolute proof. We had a huge listening session about changing hours of service. They extended the time for comments. I publicized it everywhere. We blasted it around I spent thousands of dollars of my own money to get more people to understand what the listening session and the comment period was about. They got 5,000 comments. 5,000 out of hundreds of thousands or potentially millions of drivers. Only 5,000 took the 2 or 3 minutes it takes to go make a comment. Nobody cares about this issue.
Right. Oh yeah, it's a very small number in aspect to that.
It's pathetic.
I understand that.
It's pathetic. I'll go back to your example. We want to create this huge government bureaucracy and all of this complication and make the FMCSA become 25 times bigger than it already is, and give them enforcement over every business in the country that ships or receives. And we want to do that because 5,000 people are unhappy?
I got what you're saying. And I mean, I'm happy with the ELD. I think it's made my life more simple, rather than sitting there with a ruler and trying to figure out this, and did I do it right, did I not do it right, a calculator. Boom, it's done. And I do it with the diesel that you just said a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. It does everything for me. It does my IFTA. It does all. At the end of the day, I turn it off, I'm done.
Well, there you go. So if your detention time does become a problem, solve it yourself. Find new shippers. Don't go to the places that are holding you up. Work with companies like Convoy that already have a free market solution to this problem. The government is not the answer. I have a hard time with the dichotomy I see over and over and over of people who hate government, don't want regulations, complaining about the regulation, the hours of service and the ELD. Where as an industry, we're complaining about regulation, but then our answer seems to be we want the government to regulate everybody else to fix our problem. It doesn't work that way. Truly successful businesses are out there solving this problem on their own. The same with parking. We could get into the same issue about, do we really want government involved in parking, or do we want the free market to solve the problem? If you listen to this show long enough, you know my answer. To me, the answer is never the government. Unless it's the constitutional reasons we have a government. Other than that, They need to stay out of business as much as possible. The free market does a better job. I'm going to get to a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to get to more of your calls and questions right after this. Stick around. You're on the Road Dog, Sirius XM 146.